Well, it wouldn't be like Wargaming to introduce a new premium that is, how do we say, very, very good, and, you know, some people would even call it overpowered. Well, of course, Wargaming have released a new premium, and it might just be that. So we're going to have a look at what this tank is all about. It is, of course, the Rhino. I mentioned it yesterday as being pretty strong and actually works quite well in game. And I suppose we can do the quick rundown of what this tank's all about, how it actually works, the armor model, the sorts of characteristics that this tank has, and how you can use it to do a ton of damage and also pick it up for actually a reasonably cheap price for a heavy tank that's a premium for World War II. Without being on sale. So first things first, what is the Rhino? Well, it is a combination of what I like to call the Tiger II with a Carnarvon Action X turret, and then it also has a Defender kind of gun on this tank as well. So it has that 440 alpha damage, which is, I mean, to be honest, at tier 8, pretty cracked. It's very, very powerful, and you can rack up a ton of damage very quickly with this thing. And with the armor model that this tank gets, given the Tiger II hull armor, is pretty good. He can bounce a few rounds, albeit most people will just pen you because although it does have decent side armor, most people will be able to pen the upper plate, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is, and sometimes, you know, you just have to deal with that. The turret armor of the Carnarvon Action X is pretty strong, and in fact, you can bounce a few rounds off of this turret. They can pen the upper kind of area of this vehicle, as well as pen your cupola, and they can pen the cheeks if they've got high enough penetration, but if they do hit into kind of your spaced armor cheeks into the armor behind, often they won't be able to pen, so it's just the potential to do a little bit of block damage in your games. Now I am running this tank in a full DPM setup because the DPM of this tank is not superb. It is good when you have all of the bonuses. 2600 DPM with only a 10-second reload to do 440 alpha. Very nice indeed. And essentially, when we're running with advanced loader, improved ventilation, we got rapid loading perk as well, or crew skill, whatever you want to call it. We are able to really up that reload time to a decent standard, and then of course with the gun stabilizer we can boost up that accuracy alongside all of the other accuracy perks you can pick up in the skill tree, or whatever you want to call it. And that it brings the accuracy down to 0.35. Now your aim time is still very long. You got 3 seconds. It's not the worst. It's not the best. But you know, you can make it work when you are quite slow, because essentially your turret or your reticle is not going to be blooming out massively like you would get with a light tank or a medium that's traveling at 60 kilometers an hour. Because you're traveling quite slow, you can actually maintain that reticle size pretty well. It's only when you're really moving, turning the hull and turning the turret at the same time that it becomes a real problem. But at the end of the day, that happens very limited, and really only happens when you're trying to get out traversed by a light tank, at which point accuracy is usually very close, so your accuracy is kind of not too determinate of whether you're going to hit your shot. It's more about your timing. But of course, along ranges you will be much slower. You'll probably stop to actually aim like you should do in this game, and most likely you'll be able to pen your shots quite easily. With the 225mm of penetration on the standard rounds, you got 265 on your premium, which means you can pen most things at tier 8 and tier 9, and even tier 10s, including some of the heavily armored things you can pen as well. Now this tank does have 8 degrees of gun depression, which is amazing, and in fact one of the best things about it is that the Defender, for example, does not get 8 degrees of gun depression. This one does, which is very nice to have. Your view range is actually decent for a heavy tank, whereby you'll be able to spot a few things, and yeah, it's nice to have. 1580 hit points, which is good as well. Nothing outrageous, but certainly on the kind of standard range for these sorts of vehicles. You can see in the region of about 1400 to 1500 is the typical, so you've got an extra couple of bits of hit points in this vehicle compared to some of the others, and just generally a very solid tank. And you'll note that when you compare it to other vehicles of the same type and the same speed and all of the problems that they get where they may not get everything that you might want. Now, the Rhino itself, very, very fun and really, really interesting. So I guess we've kind of kitted out the tank, and I've kind of told you about what this is all about. So let's jump into some gameplay, see exactly why this tank is so powerful and why it is such a massive amount of fun when I did play it for a few games. Now, the first game that we do have is on Ghost Town, starting off with me not paying attention to the game, which is no surprise there. But what we do is, of course, be quite aggressive in this game. We want to make sure we're as far forward as possible, use the speed of the tank to be able to get there quickly, as fast as we possibly can, because as soon as you start kind of lacking up in your speed, you'll miss out on a ton of damage. You'll also not be able to have the impact that you're probably wanting to have in your game. So I'd recommend always trying to be on the front lines with this tank. Even in lower tier games, you can still make it work. So what we're doing here is going to try and push up to the area directly in front of me from where we are right now, because what we can do from here is get some side shots on some of the tanks doing the exact same thing on the opposite side, and we can also then push up against, for example, that medium tank who just got spotted as well. So coming here with the 8 degrees of gun depression, it's quite easy to actually use. We get a little bit unlucky and lucky at the same time. I mean, we were lucky to hit, but we were unlucky to not actually pen that guy. But we can't be too angry, to be honest with you, since it was a bit of a lucky shot to go in. But at this point, I'm kind of thinking, where is the enemy team? What are they actually doing? Is anyone actually coming over here? And so I decide, given the fact that one of my teammates in the medium has actually pushed up to where he is on the left here, we're going to try and side scrape off of this corner and make it work. Now, I found myself a lovely HMH M51, which is like the Revelarize. I then decide to try and side scrape against this guy. He then sits there for some unbeknownst reason, takes a hit from me, absolutely fine, lovely work. And of course with the fairly decent reload of about 10 seconds, slightly less I guess, if you take into account maybe not having your or using your enhanced combat rations. I try and go for a shot here on the T28, but it's not particularly the easiest shot to actually plow into that guy. You have to hit the kind of cheeks left and right of the gun mantler on the T28 Pro, or hit the cupola, or hit the cheeks of the T28, or like when they're not angled towards you, because you can pen them really easily then. But we're seeing here, if the T28 was the other side, we'd be able to pen this guy. But we put one into him, pull back in, so that we're only exposing a minimal amount of our kind of hull armor, such that he's not going to be able to pen, doing a little bit of a side scrape here. But at this point, it's probably time to actually start moving up. The T28 is actually going to try and move up with us. We then go for that shot into the cheeks, but unfortunately don't manage to pen. It's fine though, because we should be able to deal with him with the next shell, but it's fine. As he gets taken out. But that allows us to now start to make a bit more of a push towards the opponents. You can see here we're going for this IS. Can we hit him? No, we actually hit one of his teammates. Yeah, definitely intended 100%. But at this point we can just start to push up against some of these. There's an IS-3 auto over here. We put one into him. He over angles or overexposes himself by coming right outside on. And we managed to plop one straight into him. Can we get one onto the T29? Yes, we can. This guy then manages to plow one into our frontal drive wheel. And then we find ourselves a little Vengeance who's not looking anywhere near us. And we can put another one into him, finishing him off. And then it's just a case of kind of staying aware of what's left and the tanks that can get some shots into us. As yes, there's a Dragon. Try and go for the shot there. Unfortunately, don't manage to hit. But at this point, it's just a case of now finding out what this IS-3 is looking, which way. And then, of course, we get one into the back of him, finish him off. And it's just basically just farming up damage at the end of the game. Maybe we can get one against the artillery piece here. Can we get one? Aiming, don't aim. Yeah, brilliant. Well done, Titan. Very, very good shot there. But unfortunately, don't manage to get another one on him. But maybe we can get one here. Can we actually aim this time? Yes, we can. But it looks like we actually ammo at the artillery. Yes, love to see it. One of my favourite pastimes in the game is honestly finishing off the arty. But the Dragon here still left on a little bit of hit points. We can push in, we can get one into him. and then pick up the 4th enemy taken out within this game with 3,900 damage in a very easy game where we literally threw away our hit points only so that we could get a bit of damage in the game because we just stomp through the opponents. If I was playing it a bit more kind of gently or not trying to kind of go in, we'd have probably survived a lot, well, saved a lot more of our hit points. But we pick up 624,000 silver as part of the silver with interest operation, only using a ×2 silver boost. So that's kind of where you can get this crazy amounts of silver. And of course, check out the news video yesterday where we went over how to do it, and we'll do a specific video looking at how you can do it as well in the next couple of days. But of course, that is not the only thing that we can look at when it comes to this tank. There's still one more replay that we can show off to you, and this is a case of playing on mines. Mines, it is of course a top tier game as well, which is nice to see. And we're going to be trying to push in towards the opponents on this game, as we said. When you can be aggressive in these sorts of tanks, it usually works out quite well. As you have that higher alpha, you can trade with opponents, and you can usually do pretty good. Now this AC4 is about to realise, yeah, it's not fun being a tier 6 in a tier 8 game, as he gets spotted and then swiftly loses over half of his hit points in one shot. Yay! Glad to see these 440 alphas back in the game. But with 432 damage, we've also picked up a little bit of assistance, and we're bouncing a load of shots off what seems to be an 88 or an 87 or one of these British tank destroyers that have kind of very, very fast fire rate guns. But we do get spotted here, it's fine. We fire on the move, manage to pen, he bounces off of us, absolutely fine, easy as you like. That guy's probably triggered. That we actually managed to pen him, probably went through the cupola maybe on the move, and then we are getting hit in the backside by the AC4 experimental who pushes out. And then yeah, we only take one getting over to this location. I'm hoping I can get one onto the skull cap. Can we do it? No, we can't. There's a friendly who's been taken out just directly there. Me being the complete bot that I am, don't realise that this Rhino is actually sat out in the middle of the open, which is not good. And we, of course, take one from him. And can we get another one? No, we can't. Brilliant. Love to see it. But we've only got the AP rounds here. We go for the LTG. It goes flying into the dirt. Brilliant. Should have aimed slightly higher, but even then, like, it went so far to the bottom of the reticle there that we may not have even hit if we aimed at the top of that guy. Then we bounce off the side of the Rhino. That's the spaced armor coming into effect for you guys. And of course, we really should have just loaded APCR for this guy, because he's probably done the same thing to me, and you can see there, yeah, he did. So not ideal because he can pen us every time, and I'm going to try and get an extra shot into this guy right now. There's a lot of teammates who should be able to deal with him. We put one into the tracks here, however very bad trades from myself here, and then of course he gets taken out, as we almost actually got hit by that guy again, which would have been annoying. But this is where, yeah, sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't. If you do play bad, like you probably saw there, where we didn't load APCR and we also didn't necessarily aim all too well. I was definitely struggling with the aiming for the first time in a long time on this game, probably due to the fact that I've been playing a lot of PC World of Tanks. But either way, you can see here we try and go for the shot on the Bulldog. 90% of the time I would have hit that maybe a couple of weeks ago, but apparently now I am a complete bot. Yes, it does happen to me as well, but we won't miss that one. The VKD stops and we can easily get one into the side, and then it's just a case of seeing when the opponents get spotted. Now there's a medium out in the open. We don't bother trying to fully aim, it will take too long and we may take a hit in return, and when you're only on this amount of damage or hit points, you can get really easily taken out. But he's obviously going to find it difficult to pen us, so he has to take a little bit of extra time, and in doing so we managed to actually find the shot and finish him off before he can react. This AMX 1375 is thinking he's going to come into the middle, but no, my friend. You get your engine taken out and now you're super slow, and then of course we can just finish him off with this next round, bright and easy, and there you go. 88 is out in the open, and of course we've ruined his game at the beginning, so why don't we just try and ruin it again? And of course we are going to fully poke out against this guy, aim for that cupola, and we finish him off there as well. But with 2.8k damage done and 4 kills, it's not a bad game at all, and hopefully we'll be able to earn a little bit of silver, as I am absolutely broke on this game. And with the silver with interest operation, this is literally the perfect time, at least for me, to be able to earn some credits. But you might be thinking, well, yeah, this game was pretty good, but you can get 2.8k in most vehicles, and of course that doesn't really matter whether it's something like this or something else. But we load a HE right here, and that's because I want to try and get a HE into this SU-130 PM. We're hoping he's going to pull back, and the HE rounds, because you have 440 alpha, 557 damage, and the average I believe might even be 560. I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure it's up there. And that allows you to get some really good HE pens in, and you can see there we do 3,400 damage and 1,500 XP as well, picking up 375,000 silver. Yeah, it's just absolutely broken to be able to earn silver right now, and hopefully you guys will enjoy being able to make and take advantage of those silver earnings that we have got. Of course, if you've got any questions about this tank, or you think it's completely different to what I'm making out in this video, then let me know. But overall, if you're thinking about purchasing this tank, I think it is a very solid vehicle, very powerful in the right setup, and I think that most people will kind of enjoy this if you enjoy high alpha, heavy tanks that can barge their way through flanks. Then this is a very nice one, and it can play aggressive quite well as well. So yeah, just one of my favourite heavy tanks that I've played at tier 8 in a long time. And stay tuned, because we might have another heavy tank that comes on from some of the lines that we've been covering recently on the channel, in the form of the 57 heavy. Of course not the traditional heavy, but we'll see that in the next coming days. So hopefully you did enjoy. Let me know what you think, and of course I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.